Okay, welcome everybody, and excited to have our guest VTech with Engine, and now we're launching Affinity. So very excited to have you here and everything. Welcome to another Bifrost AMA, and this one I know a lot of people are excited for. So definitely,
Thanks.
yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for being on it. Yeah, definitely. So perfect. Yeah. So maybe we start off, just real quick with a quick intro on yourself or project. I mean, I know Engine is huge. Uh, I was trading back in 2017, 2018. I'm a software engineer. That's what I do for my day job. And I remember seeing your guys's, like you guys were the first one pretty much out there on that. And I remember watching it. So it's really cool to see you enter the Kasama and Polkadot space. So definitely. So yeah. So if you want to give a quick intro on yourself, maybe first, and then also on the project in general and the company.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Vitek Radomski. So I'm the co-founder, CTO of Engine and Efinity. So I've been a big gamer basically since I was a kid. Sorry, there's a random alarm that turned on here during the Crowdcast.
No problem.
Yeah, I've been a gamer since I was a kid. I started out playing, DOS games on an old 486 computer. Got into Pokemon on the Game Boy. Actually, funny enough, Pokemon on the Game Boy is pretty cool. Like there's this link cable. You could link Game Boys together and trade Pokemon. That was like
that is so cool. I remember those days. Those are so fun.
Yeah, I was like addicted to that, and I'd go to school and like trade Pokemon, people's Game Boys, and then there's Pokemon cards and all this cool stuff. And I got into first-person shooters, online games. Then got addicted to MMOs through when I was a teenager. So I've been gaming my whole life essentially, and that led to me creating Engine with the CEO Maxim. We were both huge gamers. We played Counter-Strike and stuff, and we realized clans, guilds, this was something that was happening. These huge communities were forming. And we created a platform for people to build social networks and communities around games.
Yeah.
This was like a multi-gaming CMS. So you could be playing World of Warcraft, you could be playing Minecraft, you could be playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever games you wanted. And you would basically have this profile that had all your gaming activity, your profiles, your friends, your guilds. That grew into a pretty big community of over 20 million people, 250,000 gaming communities. And people would actually donate to their clans, donate to their guilds, and then that turned into Minecraft. These huge Minecraft servers started popping up, where people would mod Minecraft, create servers like Mineplex and Legendary Craft and all this kind of stuff, and they would get huge donations and huge amounts of store purchases.
I remember hearing about it. And I was in college at the time, and I was just starting college, and I was like, and my computer science friends were into it, and it was nuts seeing it. And I think it's cool because I think everybody was so focused on graphics, and then when you actually see the tools and utilities that are coming about, that was what exploded it even to know.
Exactly. I mean, like I tried Minecraft the first time in early beta, when you could just buy it in beta and straight from Notch or Mojang, and I was like, wow, this is weird. It looks like, why is this game so popular? Then I started poking around and started building things, and then I realized there's this community that you could go into, and every server was different. It was a different world, and people started creating whole universes based on themes.
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, that's where I think that's where the magic comes into play. It's not all about like graphics like we thought years ago with video games. And then it became more about utility, worlds, and it's so cool.
That's awesome. Though it's scary how good graphics are these days. Like you come into some games now and it's like, whoa, that looks like a real person. Like,
exactly. Oh, it's nuts. It's insane. Yeah, you don't know where you are sometimes.
So I mean, I'll just get out of gaming here and just say we created this big social network, and we realized we want to do something new here. We want to use blockchain. I was into blockchain since early days, like 2011, 2012-ish. Kind of just as a blockchain nerd, playing with Bitcoin, playing with Litecoin, those early cryptocurrencies. And then what I realized with Ethereum, we could do something and merge it with gaming. And there was a few experiments out there in the gaming space at the time, but we realized we could do something new, give game developers some tools to sort of have that experience that we were seeing in the Minecraft world and in the Engine community, and make that really something new, a new gameplay experience people could do. So we started coding one of the first sort of NFT platforms, and probably the first NFT platform online ever, and some of the first NFTs. And I eventually made the ERC 1155 standard, which is now widely adopted in almost every marketplace.
You were the first one. I mean, your project was the first one I heard of when I was into it, and the time I was just training and learning about about the marketplace in general. And I remember that yours was the first one that I actually heard of. So
yeah, because we presented a vision that this could be something different, something new to the game industry. And we back in the day, we like in 2017, end of the year, we were like, why don't we just do something crazy? We went and we rented a spot at a giant gaming conference in San Francisco. We made this humongous booth, got this huge booth designed. We were right beside, NVIDIA and all these giant companies. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, right? Like blockchain gaming. And we showed it off for the first time. People were able to go up to our kiosks and see like Minecraft, see a wallet in front of them, and like trade items inside of a game or receive an item and be like, wow, it showed up in the game. And this was like mind-blowing for a lot of people. And there was a lot of skepticism, but it was very interesting. And I think it sort of started the conversation around blockchain and gaming and how this could apply in mainstream games. So now, now we're kind of like, I guess we're considered an OG in the blockchain gaming space.
You are.
We did our thing on Ethereum, and now we're trying to go to the next level and do something even better.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So so maybe I'm going to come back to one question real quick, but I do want to talk about, since you're talking about you guys are transitioning over to Substrate and Kasama, basically, and Polkadot, really Polkadot, but this space. What really brought you over to, like, what attracted you to this space to move over to Polkadot and look at, was it the framework? Is it the community? Is it the I guess the possibilities from a technical perspective, Well,
we started looking at how we could achieve this vision of really mainstream games and just anyone who wanted to build on blockchain. On Ethereum, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of money. You have to build a whole team to build something up. And then when you get the end result, you get a game that's kind of for crypto nerds, very technical. You have to know what's going on to be able to use it. It takes a lot of onboarding time. We wanted the experience to be, you start playing a game on your Xbox, you start playing a game on your mobile phone, on your PC, and you don't really realize you're using blockchain. We wanted that experience. And we were having such a difficult time on Ethereum and with existing tools and it was very hard to do, and there was so many onboarding friction points we saw. So for the last couple of years, we were actually investigating how to scale. A lot of developers were coming and saying, "Oh, the problem is it's too expensive to use Ethereum, and this is what's causing the problems." But then we talked to AAAs, and they'd say, maybe 1% of our users would understand how to use blockchain, but the 99%, like, this is a major blocker for us. How are they going to understand what they're doing here? How are we going to get the average player to install a crypto wallet? It just doesn't make sense, right? We kept hearing this, and I flew around the world a few times and kept hearing this from people all around the world. And we said, why don't we look at what we can do? We first tried building our own sort of layer 2 that has all this functionality, and we realized that was a massive undertaking.
It's a lot.
Just building it from scratch, then having to run like a full blockchain for just building that requires a massive monumental effort. Not to say that it doesn't require this monumental effort now, but we realized we needed to build into an ecosystem, something where everything is working together. And what the cool thing about Substrate and Polkadot is that you have this amazing framework, Substrate, that's already like a tool chest for building blockchains. You have a lot of the boilerplate stuff done. The security model is fantastic. You have this nominated proof of stake. You have the governance, frameworks already done where you can modify them and tweak them and make them perfect for your use case. And then this internet of blockchains where it's not just you, on an island somewhere building this revolutionary blockchain. It's you are with the whole ecosystem building a whole metaverse of blockchains essentially together. And you can draw on their liquidity, or you can draw on their functionality, or their bridges, or whatever it is that different parachains are doing.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
love the bridges. I love the bridges aspect, and then like I myself have tried. I tried playing with Solidity and trying to understand exactly how to build out a blockchain. And I remember like 2-3 years ago, and I was looking at doing it, and I just got overwhelmed, and it was part time, not a side thing, and it just became too much.
yeah.
And then since that's what drew me to Polkadot Kasama was Substrate, the framework. Just looking at it and the fact that you do have all these building blocks, and if somebody wants to build an app, you don't come out and build your own framework. You build on top of the framework. You build on iOS, Android, whatever. So so I think it's definitely a great move. So I love hearing. I'm always curious how people have been attracted to it. So that's really cool. But yeah, it's interesting for sure. So
yeah, and then the community has been fantastic. Like we kind of came in as sort of an outsider from Ethereum, but we're connecting with all kinds of teams in the space, and everyone is very supportive. It's not really this sort of cutthroat ecosystem. It's a very kind of, everyone is helping Polkadot grow as this new sort of community, new ecosystem.
Yeah, you'll see the people alongside of you. You guys are running. Up at you're in there with Moon River and Akala and these other projects and Manta, and they'll be rooting for you. They'll be wanting to see you succeed. So it's really interesting from that perspective. But then also too the user perspective. I think a lot of our users are very they become very educated and very technical. I'm surprised at how much the average user that is in the Polkadot Kasama space has become very educated. They get very passionate. So
well, they're the early adopters. They're the Mavericks kind of exploring the new frontier here. So you get a certain type of person that comes in who's like like really interested, technical, dives deep. So it's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Perfect. So leading into so can you tell us about Efinity and how that fits in with the broader engine ecosystem and kind of
we're looking at so we're building an ecosystem for it's for game developers, but really anyone who wants to build on NFTs and build anything cool, make it easy for both the developer and user. So we have a wallet, we have NFT.io coming out soon here. We have game developer toolkits like these SDKs that can plug into games. And then we have the tools that connect to Ethereum and our smart contracts on Ethereum. But what we're doing with Efinity is really we're focusing our whole strategy of engine on building this next gen parachain. Everything, we're all in on building Efinity. So we think that we can get orders of magnitudes more developers and adoption on this new platform because it cuts out so many friction points. Like I keep saying, what we're doing is we're trying to remove these the need to have crypto, the need to have a wallet. We're trying to create an ecosystem that is for NFTs, for NFT users, for NFT creators, for NFT traders, and anyone who wants to support that ecosystem in any way benefits and gets to use it and gets to really use it without having these I'm trying to express this, but with Ethereum and with other blockchains, there's this giant cohorts of miners and mining companies that basically are doing this proof of work, or with Ethereum it's this whole huge legacy owners of ETH and you have to pay through the nose just to use this generalized block.
That's a big thing. Yeah, it really kills people. I think that's
exactly.
a turn off. Yeah,
exactly. And with Efinity we have the opportunity by having a parachain slot. You now can actually build an ecosystem that is built for that purpose. It's really custom built for NFTs. It supports NFT creators. It supports NFT users. It supports gaming companies. Everyone, all the tools and functionality and the gas system, everything built into it. It makes it easy for NFTs to happen and trades and crafting and all this kind of stuff. So that's what we're doing essentially. And I mean, we can drill into the features and things like that, but that's
awesome. Yeah, it sounds like it checks up a lot of boxes on the technical side, but then also too, it does sound like you guys are big on looking at the community. So, so speaking of the community, so how have you been able to get the community to get behind you? You guys do have a huge following. I know that you've got a great community and everything. And how do you see that carrying over? How do you see that building on and growing more?
Yeah, we have a massive community, through our wallet, millions of users on the wallet. And, we're starting to eclipse almost 100 adopters, I think, right now in terms of games. So that they all have their own communities that are coming in. So we see the engine community is super vibrant. I mean, I always lurk in our Telegram group, and it's like some of the best comedy, the memes that people put up there. And the community is super supportive. When we came out with Efi Token, we had to explain what it was. Because we're introducing a new token, we're introducing a new blockchain, but everyone's been super supportive. And with adopters, I think the majority of them want to use Efinity. So our goal is get everyone that is currently on Ethereum, give them an easy way to migrate onto Efinity, and then get large numbers of adopters. In 2022, we want to get at least 1,500 adopters, potentially more. And all of them building on Efinity, because we think that that's a really good framework for building blockchain stuff. Of course, we will continue to support Ethereum, and we're going to continue to develop Ethereum stuff. We want our tools to really support multiple blockchains. But we think that Efinity is really our new framework for doing all this. So we're rallying everybody. The Crowdloan is a really interesting play right now, where we have to get everybody supporting it. Can this happen? We're hoping we can get batch 1. We'll see what happens, but everyone's
you have a good shot at it. I'll put it that way. Yeah, and I think the cool thing, the really cool thing about these crowd loans, it's amazing. It does build a community. It gets the projects heavily involved with the community, but then also too, I think it weeds a lot of projects out. I think we're seeing more and more. The projects are very strong coming in. And I think it does weed out, like, so far, I have not been disappointed with any of the especially on Kasama that I've seen, these projects that have launched. Nothing has been disappointing or, this team is just garbage or that kind of thing. It's really great how it does bring the cream of the crop up there. And really,
Substrate does take some technical chops to develop for, right?
It still does. That's not.
You can't just take any old JavaScript coder and start putting up some concepts. You need some serious coders. So we have a really strong development team now that we've grown over the last year. Really strong senior Rust developers. Rust is an amazing language.
I'm a big fan of Rust. I mean, it's type-strict language. My day job has been in the past Swift, which took so many things from Rust. Rust is just such a good language. It's type safe. It's great. I agree.
Exactly. I'm a developer at heart, and I wish now I have to be CTO, and I'm managing all these projects for 10, 12 hours a day. Yeah. But all I want to do is code. I want to make stuff in Rust. So I wish. Yeah. I wish one day I'll have a little extra free time to dig in, but our dev team gets to do that. And the cool thing is we're talking to all these developers that are coming in. Everyone wants to work for Efinity, work on Engine, but they really want to work on Rust. And they're like, I want to work here because I want to work on Rust. That's my dream job, right?
That's awesome. Yeah. People love it. I mean, if anybody that is given a shot at Rust, they really do like the language. And then the idea of these palettes, I can't wait to see what gets developed more and more. And I can't wait to see how the community really takes advantage of how these palettes are coming together with, on Substrate. Substrate's really cool the way it's designed. And so
that's the thing. We can tap into the whole Rust community, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a new language. It's not Viper or Solidity or whatever other blockchain languages are being created out there. It's Rust. It has some history there. It's a beautiful language everyone wants to work with. And then we have the whole frame and substrate ecosystem that will grow and grow and grow, and we can all tap into that.
Yeah. I mean, with Rust, I can't wait to see how many developers come over from either system developers that really will really take advantage, but also too from the mobile space. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Swift took a lot of things from Rust, and same with Kotlin too on Android side. So I think the mobile engineers will be surprised how much they could transition to it too. So you've got a huge marketplace of developers, high quality developers coming over. So
exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So talking about the metaverse and NFTs becoming so popular, and it's been growing at such a fast rate. It's been insane. I mean, it's that's all the topic is. I mean, you hear everybody's talking about NFTs, and then you got Mark Zuckerberg going off on the metaverse and everything like that. So it's become so popular. But what are your thoughts on this, and what kind of impact do you see Efinity on this market, having developing?
Yeah, the metaverse is interesting because it's well, it's been the idea has been around for forever. We tried to sort of create, like, we in the early days of Engine, we said, let's try to do something. We called it the multiverse. Created a bunch of items. We had this framework that any game could tap into the multiverse items. But now I think it's coming into the public consciousness. Like this might be a thing, metaverse, where we have items that can move across different projects. We have identities that can move across different projects. And I mean, I see this in the early days. I see things like, brands being able to exist in different sort of virtual worlds. I can see Meta coming out. Like, I can see the first version of Meta being, you can interact with it online on your devices or on your Oculus, kind of go into this virtual space. During COVID times, it's kind of really cool to see people's virtual avatars, and they're developing an API so that it can connect to the decentralized world and things like that. So we're working on our Meta strategy as well. How will we tap into this world, right? I also see the metaverse going into virtual assistants, connected devices, all this kind of stuff, where you have your items, you have your currencies, you have your crypto, you have your identity, and it all sort of has ways of tying together. It's going to be kind of clunky at first, I think. There's going to be different metaverses that get created in different camps, but then they'll start, there'll be osmosis happening, and they'll all connect together, and there'll be some protocols and ways that they can communicate easily. I'm sure Facebook, having been behind React and being behind a lot of these technologies, GraphQL, they have some good fundamentals to build these APIs and these systems. That's why we've been building on GraphQL since the start, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, people are like, Facebook, they groan and moan and everything. But Facebook from a engineering standpoint is fantastic. And they have a lot going on and everything. So, They get
it. So, they don't want to close off and wall it off. They see that this is the next strategy. I saw this when they first acquired Oculus. I said, this is really brilliant, right?
Brilliant. It really was. It was a good move. It was a really good move, and they have such a reach. So it'll be interesting to see where they take that.
So I see the metaverse growing in this way, where first you'll see brands and sort of sports leagues and games kind of interoperating. Maybe in the beginning it'll be like the first sort of games like you've seen with Ubisoft recently, trying to integrate NFTs. Then they'll go on to like the next version of the game will also support those NFTs, and then maybe games in the developers ecosystem will have cross compatibility. Then you'll see people building these sort of websites that tap into multiple games data, and you'll see virtual worlds come out where you can tap into different game data, different NFTs. And then as the protocols develop, we're trying to do our part with the Paratoken Standard, and I'm sure there's going to be more standards and more protocols that happen. And I would say 2-3 years from now, you're going to be able to actually go into these worlds and see things. Like, I can go meet you in a virtual world and say, oh, you're into this game. Oh, you're into this sport. That's really cool. And I could look at your items. You could show me some stuff. We can sort of start interacting. You can trade me something. I can mint an NFT on the fly. Tell Siri to make me something or whatever, and send it over to you. That's the kind of
incredible. I know it's a world dream. Yeah, definitely. You just mentioned the Paratoken Standard. So do you want to talk about that a little bit and what that is and what that means for NFTs on Polkadot, Kusama, and other chains? Maybe a little bit deeper in that.
Yeah. So we pushed out the draft of the Paratoken Standard. We're going to be heavily editing it, I think, over the time. We're going to be talking to a lot of parachains and teams and see what they like about it, what they don't like about it. But our goal is an interoperable token standard. First for Polkadot and Kusama, and then for the entire blockchain ecosystem. So we want people to be able to bring tokens in from other blockchains like Ethereum. And then the paratokens, the cool thing about the Paratoken Standard is it tells you, the IDs tell you where that token came from. So if it came from Ethereum mainnet, or if it came from Ethereum Goerli, you'll know that token came from there. You'll know that it's a part of a certain category of token, what token ID it is, and that's kind of encapsulated in that token data. So then when you move it around to different parachains, you move it to different blockchains, that will still be your actual physicalized token. Like, it's not going to be, some wrapped version or whatever. We're hoping that this can achieve this goal. Another cool thing we can do with the standard is we have extensions. So like, maybe I'll mention, like, firstly, it supports NFTs and fungibles, right? So like just like we did with ERC 1155, you can make gold in a game with like 1 million units, and then you can also make one-off items, and you can make collections of these sort of semi-fungibles. But then we have these extensions. So if somebody wants to make a parachain that does something completely different with a token, and it's not possible on the Paratoken Standard, and they want to standardize that, they add an extension to the standard. So cool. One example of that is we made an extension called Batch, and that lets you send, whatever amounts of tokens you want, like 500 tokens at a time in one transaction, one extrinsic. So with this, if let's say Bifrost or Akala supports the batch extension, now you can send 500 tokens at once to Akala through XCM, and they can do that stuff. It's all supported. We can support cross-chain transfers, minting, and then all kinds of new features. So we want people to create extensions. We want to create our own extensions as we go forward for all kinds of interesting use cases, teleportation and optimizations, and new token features. So
yeah, that definitely sounds like the whole idea of using as an extension does sound really, really brilliant. And I'm sure that was a software engineer that thought of that idea. So it sounds like it. Very cool.
Yeah, we want to make it as flexible. Like the core standard is very tight. So we don't put any opinions, not many opinions on what you can do with your tokens. It's just you can tokenize something, it can be fungible or non-fungible, and then you add extensions on to do all the cool stuff you want, right?
That's smart. Yeah, build on top of it. Cool. Very cool. So talking about the Affinity token itself, and how do you guys plan on using that? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So Efinity EFI is the primary use case is for like basically the transaction fees on the network. That's what most people will be transacting. It's also used for governance of the network. So if we're going to have some sort of various fees and various different variables, people can easily put up a proposal and say, here's a case for why we should lower the fee or raise the fee. That's going to be a really easy proposal to get through. People will be able to open up our Engine wallet and see proposals, or they'll be able to go to the website and see all the proposals. If they have some EFI tokens, they can vote on that and make that happen on chain. So everyone participates. It'll also be able to eventually, after launch, we're going to push out governance for full chain upgrades. So whoever upgrades the chain, whether it's Engine or whether it's the community pushing out upgrades, that'll go through proposals and be able to govern that. The EFI token is just going to be the main sort of utility token on the chain. So you can use it to stake. So one thing you can do with staking EFI, as a game developer, what you want to achieve is your users onboarding to your game and doing some transactions without needing to purchase crypto or do anything like that. So we can see the game developers purchasing a bulk, amount of this EFI token, staking it in something called a fuel tank. And now they can say that they can configure that fuel tank to say, when people are doing certain types of transactions in my game, that cost will be covered. And by staking in the fuel tank, they're saying, we're devoting this EFI for our in-game transactions. They're going to get a huge discount by doing that. It's not like a trading currency. It's going to be for their transaction. They get a huge discount on transaction fees, and the community knows that it's been locked in for that purpose.
The commitment. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah. Really. Interesting. And so you guys now are trying to achieve this and get this rolling on there. What you announced, I guess, was it 70 projects have committed already to building on Efinity. So how is that going? That's pretty crazy.
It's actually eclipsing 100 now. Yeah, it's
Jesus,
ramping up.
Congratulations, early congratulations.
Thanks.
It sounds like you're already getting a great commitment. That's huge. That's amazing. Well, that's big. Yeah, definitely. So, how do you want to tell us a little bit about that, or do you want to talk a little bit about, maybe, I don't know if you can mention the partners or use cases and different things?
Yeah, I mean, we have all kinds of use cases. The majority of them are gaming, because that's what we've been focused on a lot of the time. But we have, for example, we're partnered with BitBoy. We're doing something with Pluto Alliance, essentially, where they're creating this interesting NFT universe where Pluto is like there's different aliens that consider Pluto a planet or not, and then they're creating these different alien NFTs, and they're gonna gamify it. They're gonna build comic books around it. And so that's gonna be on Efinity. We're working with them on that. There's a cool project that came on called HoloLoot AR that is really exciting, where it lets you like tokenize and easily make these 3D models that exist in AR. So you can put them in the AR world. I played with them, like, seeing them in my living room or seeing them, just being able to place them anywhere. It's pretty cool.
Sounds fun.
And then obviously we have our games that have been building over the last few years. We have, Age of Rust is very interesting, Lost Relics, and you can actually find a lot of the games on our engine page. And then, now we're actually working with some very exciting new projects. So we are potentially looking at, a big game now, getting into the early development phases, and we'll see what happens there. And we're having another large partner that may come on right now. So it's getting really interesting.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like it's going fast. Is it going faster than you thought it was going to go, or is it?
Say that again.
Is it accelerating quicker than you thought it was going to go? The growth of this already. I mean, you guys have already kind of.
I think we knew this from since 2017. We had a number of game developers in the early days at Engine, and we thought about how this would roll out, and we had to get the indies making games first, and the indies would explore, show the world how a mainstream sort of game could look. Like I'm saying mainstream game, like a 3D game or like an RPG or whatever it is, that it's kind of like a game that's made for fun, for playing, that also is blockchain enabled, right? Then we knew that we need to get a AAA on board, and when a AAA comes on board, and we're seeing some AAAs starting to experiment with blockchain, then all the other AAA game developers will kind of be like, oh, what blockchain?
We got to jump on too. We're going to get left behind. Yeah.
And so now what we need to do is, our next big goal for next year is to create this sort of painter's palette of what you can actually do with blockchain. So an executive can go look at it when they're thinking about their next game, or a game designer can look at it and say, wow, this is not just monetizing tokens and trading on a marketplace and just some crypto community doing this. It is like a massive library of creative things we can do with a game, a completely different new ways of monetizing. I have like dozens of things we can actually showcase there, and then tie that into code. So we'll start off with like, what kind of game do you want to make, right? Here's a whole palette of ideas of how you can use blockchain to make that game more successful, to make it more interesting, to use it in new kinds of gameplay you've never done before. And then here's an example of how you can do it with code. Here's an example how you can integrate this in 24 hours or 48 hours in your game. So I think that's going to be really big and bring a lot of creative juice to the blockchain gaming space.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, especially some of these people that haven't been exposed to the blockchain enough, that's going to it'll blow them away. I'm sure some of these developers. So wow, that's cool. Yeah. So it sounds like, you guys have so far a good start with the Crowdloan and everything, but talking about Bifrost, bringing it over to Bifrost, Bifrost is an amazing platform. I think it's a great place to really try to promote your project and using things. What attracted you to the team of Bifrost and participate in the Crowdloan through the SLP mechanism? So slot auctions are a really cool idea.
I see that it looks like this is going to be like the standard way of contributing to Crowdloans going forward. And I mean, we're pushing people who are interested in investing to actually go through Bifrost, because
awesome.
You get the liquidity, you get the rewards, and you have an easy standardized way of contributing too, which is really important. Every Crowdloan has this different way they have to kind of cook up, and at least with Bifrost, you can actually have a standardized, beautiful contribution mechanism. So we're really excited to be working with you guys.
Yeah, I always try to tell people all the time, there's so many people that are really like, oh, I'm submitting to this Crowdloan. I'm like, go through Bifrost so you get access to your liquidity. You won't regret that. And even if you don't plan on pulling out that liquidity, you can at least stake it and earn money while you're waiting. So, and then it's no hit to the project. So if somebody contributes through Bifrost, I always tell them, you're still contributing to Affinity the same way you would if you went directly through the website, which is cool.
Exactly. It's a very useful, very, very needed platform.
Awesome. Yeah. So going into one last thing, we'll cover a couple of questions really quick before we actually move over to the community questions. Just where do you see Affinity expanding in the future, and and as far as you guys' reach, where do you see that going further?
Well, I mean, in terms of our roadmap, we are getting the core version of Efinity out now, which is ready. And we've done a test run yesterday with Parity, and everything runs. The collators work, so that's good. And now the goal is going to be adding all these cool features, right? Adding the marketplace mechanics, which are already in the works. Adding all these extra crafting and all this cool stuff that game developers can use in their gameplay. It's kind of scary because we're talking to all these new game developers coming on, and they're like, "Oh, I want to do crafting. I want to do all this stuff now." We're like, wait, just give us a little bit more time. We just got the core done. Give us a little bit of time to like get these features out, and they want it now. So like we're they're looking at the white paper and they're like, well, we want this today. Let's implement the whole thing. So we're scrambling, to like get every feature built and get that out. I see that happening in the next quarter or two. We're going to get the majority of the features out there, and then we'll have like a fully the full vision sort of usable. And then as we develop, what our plan for 2022 is, traditionally we've been kind of like a SaaS model for our platform. Where we index the blockchain, we index the items. Then you as an indie developer, you just have to connect to our endpoint and install our SDK and do that. What we want to do for the next iteration, and what a lot of the AAAs want, is full open source, full control, having all the code on their own infrastructure, right? So we're going to be building this open source platform where it's going to be the next version of our platform. It's going to support multi-chain. You can choose any node you want. You can connect it to your own wallets. You run it on your own infrastructure, whether that's on Amazon or your local data center or Azure or whatever you want. It's infrastructure as code, easy to deploy out. And then you can modify, you can add your own proprietary code to that, or you can use the community's contributions. So that's going to be the next gen. And then we are going to look at integration with as many parachains, deep integration with other blockchains. So now, by the end of the year, hopefully, you can connect with many different blockchains, bring your tokens in, move your tokens out, and then we have a full connection. It's kind of Metcalfe's law. We'll be connected to the massive wide network.
We'll keep growing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, definitely. So, and one last thing, let's before we get into the community questions, because I know this is what rewards are available for Crowdloan supporters. So let's promote the Crowdloan first, because that's one of the big things that's going on right now, and it's pivotal for your guys' success and everything like that. Do you want to talk?
Yeah, it's a bare knuckles fight right now. So for the Crowdloan, we have 10% of the total EFI supply. That's 200 million EFI that are devoted to this first Crowdloan. So basically, if you do the math, if we had 5 million DOT was the final result, let's say, just as an example, then it would be 40 EFI per every DOT you contribute, right? That'd be the reward. And if it goes higher, then the EFI will go down. But it's still, it still comes out to a pretty nice reward, considering we've been out, we've been a token for a bit now. And we have this massive ecosystem that we're bringing in, and so that's what people get, and
that's huge. Yeah, I think that's the big thing. People really are excited about the fact that they can be such a part of this whole ride and everything with you guys, which is really cool. So definitely, I need to contribute more now to you guys too after talking with you. So I've already contributed, but I'm going to add more. For sure. Definitely. Thank you. And so let's talk about the community questions. We have a few of those. A couple of them I'll read that were submitted, and then we'll go through the ones too that are in live chat real quick. What has been your greatest challenge for the NFT market? And can you provide some specific examples, like game-changing features or from a creator's perspective?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges has been people who have started building on Ethereum. They started when the Ethereum gas fees were like, a few gwei, and now, or when I first started, it was like 1 gwei, and now it's like 200 or whatever. So the costs have gone through the roof, and now they feel like they're kind of locked, like they have all these tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of tokens out there within their user base, and now how do they easily transfer their game over to the next gen. So we're working on things like, full account transfers and things like that to make that easier, where you're not moving all the tokens over. You're basically locking your account on one blockchain and unlocking it on the new blockchain and spawning that account. We're working on that. It's a challenge. It's going to take some time, but that's been one of the biggest pain points. So that's why we're hoping, Efinity is going to be really solving this problem in the long term. Otherwise, in the NFT ecosystem, I mean, we see just a massive explosion of NFTs, and we're trying to focus ourselves. Like, what is it that Engine's DNA is? What are we good at? And what can we provide to the space that is different and unique? What can only Engine do? And I think that's what we can do is we can provide a turnkey, easy to use, end-to-end sort of Apple-like experience. That's the vision for game devs, for users, for creators, and really inspire people about the metaverse and inspire people about gaming. Show them the giant, amount of possibilities that have never even been explored. So that is our goal next year, to sort of spread the knowledge, inspire game devs, bring people online, and give them this turnkey system. So you want to build a game, you want to get in, you want to just dip your toes into blockchain, easy, right? You want to build a full-fledged gaming experience, build your whole game around blockchain, also pretty easy. Maybe it takes a little bit more work, more game design, but we're here to support, we're here to help. And I think that is a really good way forward. And it's a challenge. It's talking to a lot of people. We've spoken to many AAA game devs who wanted to do this, and then their developers push back and say, no, it's too hard, it's too weird, too alien. We were not used to this in our dev cycles. Yeah. And they're like, we'll do it for the next game, right? And then so now we're talking to them about what's coming in. It's 2 years down the line, and how they can do this. There are some AAAs that are very interested in just dipping their toes in, doing some social items, things like that. So it's something that we're going to navigate now in the next year. It's going to be a very, very busy year. I'm working over 12 hours a day right now. Just so many.
I can't imagine. I know how hard, especially launching a big project like this is got to be insane. So yeah, you're not getting a lot of sleep, sadly.
No, but our team is growing, so it's pretty crazy. We have 60 people on the Engine dev team now. It's insane. So we've had challenges, like educating the whole team, like just getting a one-on-one with all my devs and all the people on the team and getting everyone in sync. But I think it's going well. We have one of the best teams in the space, in my opinion. And now we can actually bring that knowledge out to the community in 2022, open source, document it, talk to game devs, and really move NFTs and gaming into a kind of a more fruitful utility kind of growth kind of mindset.
It's really cool. Yeah. And you said, you're expanding I know right now it's really, you guys are expanding, you're hiring quite a bit right now. Are you guys? Yeah. So yeah,
we have many people, and we have 60 people on now, and we have many developers, really great developers, and marketing people, and everyone in the pipeline coming on next year. So it's been interesting because you in the stages of a company, right? You have like the stage around 20 people, where after 20 people, you have to kind of start thinking differently. Then at 50 people, which we just eclipsed, there's another kind of mindset. You have to start, different teams with team leaders, and they have to have quality assurance and automation for everything. We have like 7 projects on the go, right? Aside from Efinity, we have the wallet, we have all this kind of stuff. We need to coordinate this really well, and then we have to provide this in a beautiful, understandable way to the community, because it's kind of hard when you see all these different things happening, like blockchain gaming, wallets, SDKs.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in at once. Especially people are new to the project just as well as the developers are new to building it. So
exactly,
it's interesting. Very cool. So another question we had was, is it Affinity's goal / plan to eventually connect to a AAA metaverse? So you did talk about that, but will Efinity be able to handle integrations with big games in the moment? So, and it sounds like you guys can. I think you kind of tapped on that. It doesn't sound like that's much of a problem.
We're currently working on a big one, and it's getting into the deep, diagrams and technical diagrams and details. So it's very exciting.
I can't imagine. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know game development is I always tell people, is really hard. I mean, I know in computer science, if you poll people when I was in college, I would say probably the vast majority of them, 80-90% said, oh, I want to be a game developer. And then a lot of people find out it's a lot more difficult than you imagine. So,
you might say that, but the thing is today, it's like, I actually do this as a hobby. I play with Unreal Engine. That's my engine of choice.
I love Unreal Engine.
With Unity.
Cool. It's fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but Unreal is just, for me, it's just fun because like you get this like AAA looking game. You can just like throw together this like epic forest. I did the forest tutorial on YouTube, like make this photorealistic forest.
You like, did I make that? Did I really make that?
Yeah. You can throw in like these mountains that look like real life. It's pretty amazing what you can do. And then with UE5 now and metahumans, like, wow, one person can do all this stuff and like animate it and do all this stuff with like just a computer. So it's a different world.
It is really cool. Yeah, definitely. Cool. So that's it. So we have some questions in the chat room. Let me just run through them a little bit. How about this? So somebody's asking about the chance to win the next auction. I think there's a pretty good shot. You guys are looking, like I would tell everybody, it's the community support. You guys are driving it. Everybody is driving it. So
yeah,
so
it's like, the Polkadot auction process. It's a really fun one, I have to say.
It is.
It's like so much stress and sweat, but it's good because it helps the good projects come up, and the whole model in the long term, is really the community supporting the best projects, and those ones that succeed over the years keep moving and keep going.
If the cream rises to the top, and
yeah, so we're fighting hard. There's a lot of good projects in the first batch, so we the numbers are pretty crazy, but we're fighting hard, bare knuckles until the end, and we'll see what happens. But we'll see. We're gonna fight. We still have a couple aces up our sleeve, so let's see what happens.
Beautiful, cool. Yeah, I would just tell people, everybody listening right now, you want Efinity to win. Tell your friends. Definitely. So cool. So another question is, do you think it will be possible in the future to buy NFTs, for example, weapons like swords, and for the metaverse and in VR? You kind of talked a little bit about that, and do you want to touch on that a little bit? That's amazing. It's like a dream come true, I think, in a way, to be able to buy stuff in the metaverse and use it.
Yeah, I mean, some of the integrations we're looking at now, there are some challenges. Like fiat is a challenge. The worst bridge is kind of the fiat, like for the average person. Like you have Apple banning stuff. You have like all these Steam's banning this. Like all this stuff is happening. But I think that the end experience wants to be like, people want to be able to pay with fiat to onboard the average person, receive NFTs in games, and do that. We're also seeing people doing a lot of integration with physical items or physical tickets. So you get a ticket at an event, you get an NFT for that, or you get a collectible figurine or something like that, and you get an NFT with it, and you can use that in a game, for example, right? We're seeing some experimentation on our end with that now. So it's moving. I think 2022 will be this year of the metaverse. I honestly see this really going fast next year. Like, you're going to see so many brands that you've never expected doing metaverse, doing NFTs.
Mm-hmm. Cool, very cool. So also too, people are asking now, do you see future plans for more staking options and farming projects on the Engine Coin? Do you see that?
So staking options for?
I think people are asking about staking with the coins. They mentioned about Engine Coin, but I guess that could to Affinity as well.
Yeah, so we do have Engine Coin, which has been around for around 4 years now, and so so that has a massive community, over 100,000 holders, and many more who actually just hold game items that hold Engine them.
Yeah.
And so the way that the staking works for that, we have these collator nodes that run the Efinity parachain. Mm-hmm. And so if you own a game item that has Engine Coin inside of it, it's like staked inside of that game item. Your sword is like literally made out of gold now, right? Like it has Engine inside. And by holding that item, you're actually in the background nominating the collator who runs, one of the collators who run the Efinity network.
Yeah.
And so we have the gamers actually supporting the network directly by owning these items and using these items.
Wow. I never thought about that. That's kind of interesting that you could actually be, supporting these collators and actually, staking these, and then still enjoying the use case out of the token itself.
Exactly. Wow. So that just by being a gamer and owning that, you start being part of the Efinity ecosystem. You start getting some EFI trickled in, and then you can use that on the Efinity network. And then we're going to see what we can do with if we can do more things with NFTs in the future, like, you know, what can we use the network to incentivize people using NFTs and actually, you know, getting some crypto network benefits, right? So one of the things that we're trying to do also is when you do price valuation on NFTs, one of the big experiments we're doing here is all the games that have tons of items that are not, you know, $100,000 superstar sales. They're like $50 helmet for your character, or, you know, a social item or skin for your gun, or whatever it is. We want people to be able to value those both as a collection, like, you know, a game developer releases 100 flying mounts for their MMORPG game. You can say, I want one of these mounts. I'm going to pay $100 for it. I don't care which one it is. And that now creates a valuation for that item. It might not even be for sale yet, but you've placed you
already kind of
worth $100. Now another person may put a higher bid up on that and say, you know what, I'm going to pay $150 because I think this mount is super rare, and there's going to be like 1,000 people coming in and wanting that mount later on. Now you have with those 2 or 3 bids, you have 100 NFTs now suddenly valued on the network, and this is a really cool experiment to provide this long tail of unknown sort of items that are low value, giving them a value, and people will be incentivized on the network to do this, and they'll stake some EFI to do this. And so we see this as being a really cool new thing that we're solving.
If you create markets on the fly, that's really cool. That's amazing. Yeah. Huh. Nice. So I thought I'd just touch on one question somebody just asked about this, because I'm sure a lot of the users in here are new to Crowdloans, but also new to Bifrost in general too. Somebody was asking, you know, is it possible that, you know, with the SALP, the slot auctions, about reinvesting and all that? So just to give people heads up on that, there is a VS bond market that is opening up, and there is your VS dot will become available to you. So, you know, so in a lot of this is just brand new and taking place. So Bifrost is launching. The team is working really hard at that. So you can feel very confident that you put your coin behind Efinity, you're going to have access to that liquidity. So yeah, so don't hesitate to go through that platform versus, you know, going through somewhere else. So definitely cool, awesome. Do you want to add anything else, or this talk has been amazing? I really more interested. I was already interested in the project. I've already heard of you guys from a long time ago, and the fact that you guys were coming over to you know, the Polkadot space really excited me. But I'm even more energized now by you guys. So definitely love to hear.
Yeah, I just you know, essentially we're building nonstop. We're building like 7 things at a time right now. We have, you know, all these teams. So what's on the horizon now is, you know, we have a new wallet, a complete from the ground up rebuild of the wallet, which is crazy. It's insane. You know, we had to pull our hair out because it's been 4 years of V1, and now we had to recreate that and test it, and, you know, make it way better than V1. So
migrating's hard. Migrating's hard. So I'm sure.
Yeah, building a product from the ground up again. But this gives us the framework to support all parachains and Efinity, and provide a beautiful interface for NFTs and for exploration. So we can't wait to show that to the community. We have a new marketplace coming soon called NFT.io, and that'll provide this sort of turnkey framework for these developers and people to actually put out their NFTs in a beautiful way. We want to do in-game linking, like where people log in with their game account and they can start purchasing NFTs, and they can receive it without any wallets involved until they hook up their wallet, and then they get all those NFTs directly into their wallet when they want. So there's a lot happening. You're going to see a lot of updates, I think, in the next 3-4 months. So watch engine.io, watch efinity.io, and we're really excited to push this stuff out.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and oh man, I'm excited for you guys. I'm a fan now, even bigger than I was before, and I'm definitely going to support even more. So I would encourage anyone listening right now, don't regret, don't wait. We don't want to regret, you know, not contributing to Efinity. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time. Take care.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for all the questions.
Thank you, everyone, too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.